Well, here we are, finally. We have the Sydney character pack. Now, if you actually asked me about what I thought of the Sydney character pack when it was originally announced back in, I think, Payday Con, my initial reaction was just, great, we're getting another character pack, because we don't have enough as it is. And to this day, I still feel like we have too many. I mean, I love Jimmy, don't get me wrong, but we still have too many character packs. It's our 15th heister, I believe. In a 4-player co-op game, that's quite a lot. But I'm not really here to bitch about, oh, we have too many heisters. I'm going to leave that till the end because most of you guys have been asking anyway, what do I think of Sydney and her DLC content? Well, to cut a long story short, it's not all positive this time. It's got its ups and downs for me. I mean, people like it, which is great. I'm always happy when people enjoy content because it makes it happy for them and they enjoy what they get. For me, I couldn't get into this pack properly. I just didn't feel like it was a good pack. It's medium at best. Now, before you start hating on me for not liking the DLC again, let me just explain why. So first of all, let's actually talk about what this content has to offer for the price of $3.99. You have the following. You've got Sydney herself. You've got the butterfly knife, which is called Wing. Get it? Because it's a butterfly wing. You also have the bootleg assault rifle. And then finally the anarchist perk deck. The first thing we're going to focus on is the melee weapon because we all know at this point Overkill is running out of ideas for melee weapons. This is different to what they're used to doing because normally it's just DIY equipment and stuff you can buy from a shop. This one is a bit more interesting because it has a custom animation to it. And that's about it. In the video they state it's a medium damage melee weapon, but let's be honest, you've got the katana, you've got the drill, there's no point to use medium damage melee weapons anymore unless it's for stealth. And I won't lie, using this knife in stealth is a lot of fun, purely because it looks nice. It has a neat little animation, which after 5 minutes I got bored of using and just went back to what I normally use, which is a shovel. Because as much as I like having the high damage weapons, I just like the shovel. It was funny when it came out, and it's still funny to me today. I'm really easy to please, I guess. Next up, we have the bootleg rifle, and this is my favourite bit of the DLC pack because it's a fucking rifle with a drum mag. I mean, we've wanted a drum mag for ages. The game has had a drum mag for ages. It never worked, but now we have a gun with it, and it's a really decent rifle. A lot of people say, oh, it doesn't have high accuracy, or oh, it doesn't have high damage for Death Wish. Well, I say, you're stupid. I mean, yeah, there's better weapons out there. But it's got a fucking drum mag, and it's a nice weapon. It sounds good, it looks good, and it's fun to use. I don't mind the low accuracy, because I enjoy spraying with it. At the end of the day with Payday at the moment, I don't feel like it should just be focused on what is the best weapon for Death Wish or for Overkill. Does it have a high damage rate or accuracy? No, if you like the gun, then you like the gun. And personally, I think this is one of my favourites. I haven't been this happy about a rifle since the Queen's Wrath from the Clover DLC. I think the only complaint I have with this weapon is the fact that only this gun has the drum mag and you can't change the drum mag. I mean, there's been a thing for a while that Overkill can't program another animation set or some bollocks on the line of that, and it stopped the game from having another drum mag for all the weapons. Personally, as long as they don't charge for the drum mag itself for all the other weapons, I'm going to be fine with it. For this weapon, because it's the weapon and that's how the weapon works, it's okay to an extent. But if they make a DLC which is just, oh, now you can use the drum mag, which was meant to have from pretty much day one because you guys said it was going to be there, and then charge for it when it's taken almost 3 years to bring it out for us, that's a bit shitty. Oh, and also another thing, I can't find a sight which I like using for this gun. Maybe Overkill should add some more sights to the game. I mean, come on, when was the last time you added a sight? I think it was the armoured transport heist with the Seymour sight. Now, let's look at the perk deck, which is called Anarchist. This is basically the best way I can explain it. It's like Grinder, but you don't get health back, you sacrifice your health and get more armour. Now, on paper this sounds really shit. In practice, which is really strange, it's really good, and I really like it. At first I didn't know how to feel about it, but that was because I hadn't actually upgraded the perk deck to max. I would advise you upgrade it first to full and then try it out because it's much better. You basically sacrifice, I believe, 50% of your health and get 100% armour. So you can now have a lightweight ballistic vest and around 200, maybe 300 armor. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. It then goes up to 110%, then to 120. Your armor will regen constantly throughout the battle. You don't have to wait for it to deplete and then go back up. And on the final perk, you can get more armor back while killing people. Put Bullseye Ace on top of this to get more armor back. And you're a fucking tank. Now, I addressed in my previous video with Jimmy that one of the things I didn't like was how selfish perk decks were. And this is a very selfish perk deck, however it does sacrifice you at the same time. On Death Wish, the moment you lose your armor, that's it, one shot, you're dead. There's no getting around it, so you have to think strategically on how you're going to approach things. You can't just go in guns blazing, even with high armor. You have to think, I need to hold back for a second and kill some people, then I can go forward. While this doesn't bring balance to team playing perk decks, it's nice to see a perk deck that isn't focused on fucking health regen, because I'm sick to death of health regen perks. You got Muscle, Ex-Presidents, Grinder, you've got enough, to be honest. It shows that Overkill is now struggling to find new ways to bring perk decks into the game, however this was definitely a step in the right direction, similar to Maniac. While Maniac doesn't work well on its own, you need someone with something like Gambler. It's a nice touch to see a perk deck which is similar to Grinder, but more focused on armor. And honestly, I prefer playing with this perk. This perk has brought a new way to play the game for me, and I mean, yes, you can use it with dodge. I did use it for a little bit with dodge, and I don't like dodge myself, I've never been a fan of it. And I'm now using my old rifle technician build, where it's mastermind and technician put together. Now I use a low armor build with the same skills, so the same rifle, which is currently the rifle from this DLC, and I actually feel a lot better playing it, and it's made Death Wish a bit easier. And I mean, come on, let's be fair, Death Wish is fucking piss easy on the skill beta, and this perk deck was built for the skill beta. I do play the skill beta a lot myself because I just can't be asked to go back in and out of it and then saving and reverting my saves. It's just effort. But honestly, the weapon and the perk deck are my favourite bits about this DLC. The melee weapon is pretty poor, and I'm sorry to say, but Sydney to me is not a good heister. Don't get me wrong, the design is great, and it's an Australian accent, which is always a thumbs up because Australia is just amazing, and I love the Australian accent. But Sydney has no personality, and a lot of heisters suffer from this. I was thinking of going back soon to talk about Bodhi and Jiro, which I'm going to, but one of the things most heisters suffer from is just the lack of personality. To me, Bonnie is another prime example of this, because Bonnie, don't get me wrong, is a great character. She's Scottish, but that's about it you have going for them. The original four heisters had a bit of personality to them. Dallas was the leader, Chains was the enforcer, Brute, Wolf was a psychopath, and Houston was newbie. And Hoxton became aggressive, and he was quite jealous of Houston. And that's something I liked. I liked how the characters would kind of use each other to kind of make themselves a bit more realistic in a way. The new heisters have nothing going for them. Jiro did. Jiro had his son, and then nothing came from it, and we're still waiting for the heist for that. But if you read Sydney's bio, apparently she got into the Payday gang purely because she robbed from them during a heist. I'm sorry, cops do that daily. We should have millions of members of the Payday gang if that's the case. But no, she does it, and she's got spunk, so she's part of the crew. Honestly, to me, this doesn't really give her much of a story, it just means she got lucky. Now, going to the design of Sydney, she looks pretty cool. I don't understand the hair on the sides, but the blue hair overall does look pretty neat. She's incredibly skinny from what I've noticed. And the animations in the lobby, you can kind of see this, and it's a bit weird. I like the design of the tattoos on the arm, and the gloves look cool. I mean, now she's going to get fingerprints everywhere, because that's how Hoxton got put in jail, because he had fingerprints on First World Bank and blah blah blah. But that's not really something to really focus on this point, because we've had Jackie for God knows how long. Overall, this pack is okay. I wouldn't honestly recommend buying it full price, but that's because I don't really feel like I get enough for it from the character or the melee weapon. However, the perk deck and the weapon itself are pretty good. And I like the bootleg rifle, and I like Anarchist, and they're going to be used a lot more by me. But I'm not going to play as Sydney. She doesn't even come close to my top 4. She's close to the bottom with a couple of other heisters. Now, something I mentioned earlier is that there is 15 heisters in this game, and that's too many. It's a 4-player card game, guys. You're basically wasting resources on making new characters, which cost way too much money for voice actors. You then got to rehire them later to add new voice lines for each new heister. So the older heisters, aka Wolf, have fuck all voice lines, and it looks really stupid, and it just kind of ruins part of the fun. I know Wolf Anderson left the company and he didn't want to voice Wolf anymore. However, thanks to there being so many new heisters, you notice it more and more, and it just kind of ruins Wolf for me, and I loved Wolf. Honestly, at this point, I think Sydney was getting to the point now where you're just doing this because you can, and that isn't good. It kind of ruins part of Payday for me. I would rather you focus on other packs now, like weapon packs, or heist, or something new for the gameplay. I mean, you've got Safe House customization coming. I'm curious to see what you're going to do with that. However, if there's another heister pack, I'm not going to get it. If it's free, then fair enough, I don't mind, but if it's paid for, I'm not going to buy them anymore. Even if the perk deck is stupidly overpowered, I'm just tired of them. And to be honest, I'm tired of talking about them. I'm going to do Jiro and Bodhi as the final lost episode of what I think of the characters, but from here on out, I don't feel like I have much more to contribute when it comes to character packs, because I'm going to be repeating myself each video. Who knows? I'm going off topic again. So, I would say, if this pack is on sale, then get it. If it's full price, I mean, you might like the Australian heister more than me, but to me, it didn't feel worth it. Maybe when they update the voice lines for the characters, they can give Sydney a bit more personality. That would make it better.